So, hello. You're the first
Oh,
actual one. Gob wasn't real, so thank you for
oh,
being the test subject.
sure. I thought it
You're
was very helpful though, his interview, so.
Oh, well, I mean, if you watched it, you got all the spoilers. But
Okay.
yeah. My camera has moved. Cool. All right, dope. Um so basically what we're doing is I'm stealing ideas basically from people who are doing the same thing I'm doing so that I can be better, and I'm calling it interviewing for the sake of the community, basically.
Makes
So
sense.
what yeah. What happens is I have technical issues and I ask people about like RP and junk and like their characters and all of that stuff. Um, I thought you would be interesting because
Okay.
you didn't know what was going on. So I
Yep.
think that's really cool. Um, but I guess the first thing, and Gob didn't have to do it, so haha. um, like, who'd you play? How'd you come up with the character? How'd you get here? Kind of thing.
Alrighty. Well, first I played, really her name was supposed to be Mira Riley, but Preceptor introduced me as Myra, so I went with Myra.
Nice.
Um, and really that character had like no background or anything. I was just like, sure, I'll play Alice, and jumped in. So it was mostly just me trying to do a terrible, terrible accent that didn't work.
Okay.
And yeah, that was pretty much it for that one. Um, and then when I switched to my second character, I kind of thought about it a little bit. I knew I wanted to kind of have a little bit of a foundation for her, but even then it still wasn't super in depth. Um, and really I did that character more to actually learn the game. I forced myself to actually learn how to do things
It's terrible.
because
Ugh.
I know, I didn't realize I could just leech until I watched your episode yesterday, and I was like, that's what I need to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're good at
So,
it. Have you
yeah.
done RP junk before?
Um, just a little bit, really. Um, I've never done RP with voiceover IP anywhere before. The only online RP I had done was way back in Neverwinter Nights days when it was text-based. So, other than that, I have a little bit of D&D experience, but not a ton.
Cool. I say I hate a lot of games, so I'm not gonna say it, but I don't really like Neverwinter Nights. But that's unimportant. We're not here for that.
All right. Yeah, we'll not discuss that then.
Perfect. What I do think is really cool is that you followed the same path that I did, the same path that Gob did, the same path that tons and tons of people have. But this time, I knew what was happening because I had done it, like, and been there. And I thought it was really cool to watch you learn how to play the game in RP, learn how to be the character, and all that junk. So that was super dope.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a lot of fun aspects learning how to do different mechanics through RP. So,
Do you think so? That's one of the things I wanted to like really get your info on because I've done both sides now, but we really want to, and I say we, I'm speaking for other people because I know I can. Um, when we want to teach you or teach anybody, we don't want to tell you press your F muscle. We hate that junk.
right.
So, did you see that stuff? Did that happen with random people?
Um, maybe just a tiny bit. I think most people are pretty good at trying to not just default to using that, which I appreciated. So,
Okay. Um, Specifically, there was one time upon a wait. Hold on. Sound is going through OBS, but I can't see it. How is that even possible? 1 second. I think I unplugged my ripsaw earlier. And, alright, there it is. She's a bit quiet. I mean, I can boost.
Oh,
Thanks. No, it's cool. I got you.
okay.
Because I can just turn you up in Discord, and it's easier.
Okay.
I can see our levels in junk, but when I get really into stuff, I like lean forward into the mic, but most of the time I talk like this, so it really changes like how loud I am. Unimportant. Again, I got it. So, there's a specific scene I'm thinking of on the ship where I'm pretty sure I was trying to tell you how to look at the stats of the ship, which is like impossible to say. And I gave up, which actually allowed me to say it, but it's you hit F while you're looking at the deck, right? Do you have any tips for us to like help with the teaching part? Because it was impossible. Like I couldn't do it.
I don't know. Yeah, that I do remember that, and I was like, I cannot understand what he's trying to tell me to do. I'm trying, and I don't know if I even ever got it from that, but obviously eventually I figured it out. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Without having to like actually try to tell someone myself right now, it's very hard for me to think about what a good option would be to say.
Yeah, until you like have done it and you're so familiar with the game that you just do it automatically. But I actually learned that I have no idea what's happening in the game a lot of the time, so there's that as well. That's a good question. Did you try playing with the HUD off and stuff to like do what we're doing?
I did like for a very tiny bit of time. Like I would turn it off sometimes, but it's so hard to, I don't know, aim or do anything. So
Well, yeah.
yeah. I did like the feeling and the immersion it gives when you don't have it on, but as far as learning and not being familiar with anything, it was definitely a challenge, so I didn't really turn it off too much.
That's another good thing, I guess. I have actual questions written down, but I'm just making them up.
Oh, okay.
Did you have any experiences with meta that you could tell as a new player were occurring?
You mean like, did I see anyone
Well,
thought was using meta, or did
sort
I feel
of.
like
Not, I mean, maybe you, but I mean, if you're not super familiar, how do you know you're doing it? But like people who knew your name without you knowing you said it or whatever, or people who showed up in a place that you thought they wouldn't know about. Those are the kind of things that are like sort of benign.
I don't think I really had that happen too much. There was just one time where someone asked to go talk to me on my boat, and I didn't know who that person was, and was kind of like, and he just went over, got on my boat. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, right. How would they know it's yours? Yeah.
Yeah, like I was like, okay, well, maybe he just saw me get off of it. I don't know.
Right.
So I just kind of went with that. But other than that, I don't think I really had too many encounters with that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. Good to know. Since you saw Gob talk and all that junk, more importantly, you heard all the questions that I asked him. Do you think there are things we can do as streamers to like bring people in and be inclusive and like show off that you can be included?
I've never streamed, so from that perspective, I'm not sure.
Hmm.
Um, but I think even just you when you and Gab were discussing things, like you made it very clear that it's something that anyone can try. Anyone should be able to feel like they should be able to try to RP. And that you guys aren't going to just sit there and judge every single thing they do. You're going to try to interact with them to show them, what it's about so that they can learn and improve themselves. So,
That's a good
um,
point. Hmm.
yeah, I think just having people who are great RPers discussing that sort of thing is encouraging for newer players or less experienced players.
So maybe I should say it more instead of being so passive. Got it. Uh, okay. Good thoughts.
Sure.
Okay. I'm gonna make that a note. Anyway, so you met a lot of people, or met a lot of characters. Well, you both. Anyway, I don't
Mhm.
know. What sort of characters and stories do you like and like draw you in, and what sort don't you really care about?
Um, I definitely am more drawn to like the dramatic, emotional sort of thing. Um, Not that I'm great at it or anything, or I just like the feeling and thought that it often brings up, which I know you're from yesterday's interview, you're more towards the just kind of silly, which I do enjoy that too. So, I mean, they both had their place, and you definitely can't be somber and dramatic all the time. That's not gonna work. But so I would say a good mixture of both. Um, Really, I don't know. The only thing I probably wouldn't enjoy too much is just I don't know. I guess with Atlas specifically, I wasn't totally into like the ship outings so much. Just because I'm not into PvP a lot.
Hmm.
So, um, to work that sort of thing into RP is a little hard for me because I said I'm just not into PvP. But
Did you try any of the? Because I know you learned how to sail and I think shoot cannons.
Mhm.
Did you try the like NPC fights? Um, with like ships of the dead or even the larger elementals and junk.
um, I mean, I never did any of those things on my own, I- but I mean, it wasn't too bad to go out. We went to the Nope Island, I think. Once I went out, there was some people, and that was kind of fun just because I hadn't seen it before. Um, and I don't mind having to deal with the environment and watch the environment.
Hmm.
Um, so that wasn't too bad, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm thinking about what we're seeing on the test server, which is a lot of like NPC pirates. So you're
Oh,
doing the ship battle, but you're not. I mean, the fight's basically the same. You still have to have a crew. You still have to have someone repair. You still have to have all of those people there. It's just when you sync them, you are rewarded with PvE stuff instead of PvP RP.
well,
So I think that's a cool idea. And I've definitely seen crews that go out and fight whales and fight the Kraken and do all this stuff and like
mhm,
actually prepare for it. So I think that can be good for like the blend of
mhm.
we're fighters, but we're not fighters.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Um, yeah, I could see
Cool.
that because then they don't have to necessarily, just search for someone specifically. They know kind of where to find the Kraken or the whales, or I'm assuming maybe the NPC ships. I don't know. I haven't been on the test server, but
I got you. That's cool.
um,
I don't know how you'll find them either, but good luck, I guess.
okay.
Um, if you want to, have
Yeah, if they want to.
have you watched other streams of RP? I know you have been in my stream, thanks. But do you watch other streamers and all of that junk?
Um, I mean, I do sometimes. Um,
Of Atlas or completely separate games?
I have watched some of the other streamers that were for GGRP, um, since I started playing Atlas.
Mhm.
Before I started playing Atlas, I had never watched it really. Um, Other than that, I occasionally will turn on like a D&D stream just to see if it's worth watching, or I don't know.
I got you.
Sometimes.
Hmm. Okay. I was trying to think if I could ask anything about streaming, but I think we covered it earlier, so that's what I got, I guess. Oh, when you started, did you think you would have any sort of story with either character? Did you have
Um,
any preconceived notions?
I don't think I really did. It was kind of just, okay, let's see where this goes sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think especially with my first character, like I said, I didn't know anything, so like I didn't even have any ideas of what there was to encounter within the world, and I wasn't familiar with the community at all, so I didn't really know what to expect
Mm-hmm.
on that end either. So, um, yeah.
Okay. So I have this idea, this concept that I forgot to ask Gob about. But before I get into it, something else I thought of, and it's something I do too. So you started, you made a character, you played through it, whatever, perma. Okay, cool. Then when you made a new character, you obviously knew where we were and you knew us.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you were drawn back because it was like comfortable and you knew what to expect in junk?
Probably a little bit. I was trying not to be super obvious. Oh, okay, I know these people.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, well, I was at the Freeport and I did see your sign for the event, so that line makes sense that, oh, maybe I'll go check this out.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, but yeah, for some reason I had a hard time even like happening upon people when I was out by myself. So it was kind of lonely, I guess, which I expected. Again, I was thinking, okay, this isn't going to be very long. This is just a test sort of raw season, and then they'll get to the new season, and that's where I'll start to jump in. But
Gotcha.
I think it ended up being a little bit longer than I was expecting. Um,
Yeah.
just fine. So I learned a lot.
That's something a lot of people say. Hey, I can't find anyone. Hey, I don't know where to go. But I think those of us who have seen Atlas go through the cycles and people who play other games, like we can tell where people are, we can tell when they're awake just by like opening their mailbox and looking, or the way their animals are or their ships are or whatever. So do you think, I guess, a centralized place where people always will be, like a Freeport, but not the Freeport, like where they can live, do you think that's a valuable commodity or idea?
Um, I I would say could be. But at the same time, you're always going to have people that are traveling out to the different locations. So you're never going to guarantee that, oh, yeah, there's going to be tons of people at this location all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I guess it would give you an idea of where you may find people
Right.
like more regularly.
Did you get pirated?
Nope,
Hmm.
never
Unlucky.
did. I know.
Unlucky.
So
Well, can't ask about that. Ooh,
sorry.
here's another thing that I think is interesting for players. Did you get really attached to your animals and your stuff?
My stuff probably not so much. I did really enjoy like having the animals, so probably would have been a little attached to like my horse for my first character, and then I really got involved in actually trying to do maps and stuff. So I enjoyed having my bear for that. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay, so now that you've played two characters, you're actually better at this than I am. In my opinion, the way a season works is like a match for most players, and most of us can't, like, if our character permas or if our story's over, we can't go again because in our heads the match is still going, if that makes sense. Like the story's still there and we can't start again. But you did, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's an accurate sort of statement?
I mean, it probably depend on person and how they feel. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely permed characters previously, like in Neverwinter Nights, but that didn't really have seasons either, I guess. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I've also never played in something that was seasons.
Right.
I guess I didn't even think about that when I decided to change characters. So,
Why did you decide to perma other than to just learn the game?
uh, that really was pretty much the reason.
Okay,
I was
cool.
like, maybe I should figure out how to play this game because, like I said before, I didn't realize I could just kind of just skirt and that would be okay.
To be mean to Murphy. Fact.
Well, I mean, I guess there could be a little bit of that. No, I asked him
Mm-hmm.
out of character what he thought if I would do that, and he told me, it was my decision, and I would probably maybe be a little lonely doing that. But I
Mm-hmm.
still went with it because I don't know. I just like to do things the hard way, I guess.
No, I think that's you followed the same exact path I did, which is cool. When I started, I accidentally joined a large pirate company, and so they had everything, and I had no idea how to play, so it gave me a chance to like pick up stuff and look at it and go, "What the f is this? Where do I put it?" Okay, got it. Next thing, and so I did that for a while, and then I perma'd and started again.
Okay.
But since then I've never done it and I've never been able to, because I think it's like in a shooting match, a first person shooter, at the end of the match you say GG, some people say GG whatever, they have their ritual, they go to the next match, and when it starts they leave everything behind, right? So, or that's the idea. That's how you play your best, right? We can't do that because the company we were with is still there and the story's still going for them, so we think if we show back up, like, we're still in it, but we're not. So I'm just trying to like figure out how I feel about that and if it's good or if it's not.
Okay. So like if someone had gotten so many millions of redemption points on your Twitch channels and told you to perma, would you have just been done for the season then?
um it depends. Early on, no, I would have played again. um but once I didn't want to play anymore, yeah, 100%, I just would have quit. I just basically kept going to do the events. So,
Okay.
but it's going to be interesting because I know Slick has enough points,
Oh, does
and
he?
I think I think he should do it at the beginning or near the beginning of a season, just to force me to switch. They have jokes about all getting to the same amount or whatever, and then just doing it rapid fire. So I have to make characters over and over again, which would be hilarious. But I think it's a really difficult thing for me because if I'm running an event, which I like to do, how am I going to do that
Right.
without being that character. I can't, right? So then all of the responsibility of telling people and stopping the event and all that stuff goes on to someone else, which sucks, but is also RP. So
That's true.
I guess we'll find out. Because I'm sure it will happen. I don't know if I'll run events, though. I'll probably do smaller time stuff.
They were a lot of fun, though.
Yep.
Especially for, like I said, someone who was new and didn't know anybody. And I don't know. Even though I didn't really participate too much in the first couple.
Yeah, that's cool. They're kind of like, everyone knows Ladies Night if you were there, and you'll always probably remember, hey, Ladies Night was a thing. Everyone remembers Painting Night if you were there, and will always remember. And then these events, since they change so often, I was just like testing stuff. Like, can we do this? I have no idea. So I'll probably run like ideas of them in the future. Oh, jeez. I thought what I would have to do to perma, because I thought Slick was actually going to perma Samson. I thought I would have to drink a bunch of juice and then pretend to eat strawberries and die from it, but it never happened. So I didn't have to do it. I was ready though.
Oh man, that would be an interesting way to go.
Yeah. And then I thought maybe I would perma during a pirate attack or something, but never worked out. When you started your character, well, I guess your second character, did you come up with like, if this happens, I will perma, or if this happens, I will do something kind of rules?
No. I'm kind of more someone that doesn't necessarily think about that sort of thing in advance. It's more dependent on the story and where it's at and if it makes sense.
Okay. Do you have any tips for drama RP?
Well, I'm not that great at it, so I'm probably not the best person to ask, but
I thought the Murphy Away story arc was pretty good.
Okay. I appreciate that. I don't know. I think you just have to kind of feel it, which is hard to really give advice on. I don't know.
We were, of course, I'm sure you know, we were all going to treat that specifically like not as a big issue, and then we as players definitely chose to go a different way because you were going a different way, which I thought was really interesting. Like, none of us knew who you were, right? But you're part of the company. You do and say something, you change like everybody basically around you. That was pretty cool, I thought.
Okay. Well, that's good. I felt like, oh man, I'm making these poor people just like sail around and just holler, and I don't know. I didn't know if that was a little too much for everyone. So
no, I think that's what we should have done.
Okay.
I've said it, you know, obviously I want to get better at drama RP. But like I guess I just don't think it that way, so I kind of need like something to start or whatever. So that seemed like, hey, this person needs it to go, so let's go. And then we did. So that was cool. I'll keep working on that too.
Do what you like to do, I think, is the best advice anyone can have.
Yeah, but then we'll just get nonstop Pierre, and we can't just have nonstop Pierre. So do you think from here you will try other games and other servers and junk?
Probably. I mean, I have done a little bit on Daisy now
Mm-hmm.
that that's opened. That was also pretty much new to me,
I saw.
um, but easier. For me, it's hard to when I'm surrounded by new people I don't know. It's really hard for me to open up sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but I need to do it, and I want to do it. So I'm gonna try.
I don't want to like influence you or whatever, but I've heard Conan RP is pretty dramatic if you're looking for drama.
I did hear that, and I also heard that the server for GGRP might be up, maybe. Well, soon. I don't know.
Oh, I have no idea.
I keep watching because it's like it says coming soon, but maybe it's not
Ew,
really.
Conan.
I've never played that either, so I don't know.
It's a lot of sand from what I've seen. That's all I got. I played for like 2
Okay.
days. Yeah, that's all I know.
Gotcha. Sand.
Yep, sand RP. Get ready. um. So Gob does accents, right? I do not accents, but voices. And I think both of those help us like step away from our character because I'm definitely not those voices. So when people talk to me, that's not me, right?
Right.
Do you have any thoughts about how to step away from your character if it's your voice, you know, or if it's you?
It can be hard. I don't know. I'm not very good at voices, but I was trying.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does make it a little bit harder. Because you don't feel like you're necessarily different because you sound the same to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
No? I don't know.
What about Tiny?
What about Tiny?
Tiny's voice is, and oh gosh, Bogatha's voice. They're both voice changers, right? Do you think that because I actually don't know if they monitor themselves. I can't monitor myself. My brain doesn't work. But do you think that helps them separate even though they can't hear that it's their separate voice?
It might. I don't know. I don't know if people would seem to react differently to you based on your voice. Maybe they would. I don't know. It's a good question.
I've definitely talked like my character before. I've done Boxster accidentally a lot, and the things Pierre says are now way more prominent than they used to be because he says balls and what's poppin' and all of that junk. I think we've all taken our characters to like work and the store and junk.
Well, and really, I mean, there's some part of us that is exaggerated in all of our characters.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I feel about mine. I don't know.
Of course.
So it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let me read my notes again.
Okay.
Oh. So there's Sorry World. There's a dang, what is the word that I used? Let me search it out. Oh, equality gap in the world. Sorry, world. Between men and women. Do you think that's represented in RP also? Or what's it like to RP as a female person?
I mean, I guess it probably really does depend on the community that you're in. There may be sometimes, I don't know, like maybe people are a little more nice and trying to teach you things when you're just not catching on. I don't know for sure though, because I am who I am.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know.
I think
Yes,
so
I'm sure
too.
there are differences.
Yeah, I don't know what they are either. I was hoping you would be a doctor at least of this.
Nope, I'm a doctor.
Yeah, I think there is a gap for sure. I think it's sort of similar to real life and also really different. But I can't identify like, oh, it's always this, it's always that. It's just different, which sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, it's different and it is hard to put into words or to like consolidate it down into just one specific thing. It's
Mhm.
just
I think it's kind of like the things that we see that are meta, but we can only see them a little bit. Like if someone stands too close to you to get your name, not everyone does it. It's only obvious if you know what you're looking for and you're watching, but it just happens sometimes, and some people do it. That sort of junk. So I think the male female difference or whatever is the same idea. It's there, and some people can see it if you're looking, but a lot of the time it just happens and you don't know.
yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know this is just me saying a bunch of junk, but whatever.
Same to jump to.
Ask that. Oh, so you had to learn through RP, and you are now a part of the community. Haha. Welcome.
Thanks.
Are there things, not necessarily about the game, but even about the game, but are there things you still want to learn and like dive into and experience more?
I totally never figured out how to do painting correctly and how to get an image correctly when you port it over.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to ask that like that's impossible to ask about a character.
It actually is because
So
you have to use a program separate from
right,
Atlas entirely. Yeah.
right.
Yikes.
So like, oh, how do I imagine this thing differently on this canvas? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's definitely, I'm sure, a lot that I wouldn't mind learning about the game.
Plus drama
Still.
RP and junk
But
too. I earlier when I was thinking about leech characters versus, I guess we'll call them productive. I don't know what we'll call them. Well, not productive. So I think there are actually three extremes.
okay.
You know how RP or not RP RPGs have that like weird pentagram thing, and there's like the different like strengths, so you can be more attack or more defense or whatever. Not a pentagram, pentagon.
I was like trying to
Nope.
imagine what it was.
Nope, pentagon. Anyway,
Uh-huh.
I think there are three. I think there's leech characters. There's like we'll call them like drivers or something. For example, Danger and Tiny go out, do this, everybody come, let's go. I need this, go get it, that sort of thing. And then I think there are like provider characters that you don't see a lot, but like Zver coming up with
Yep.
all the maps, all of the junk, just showing up with it, and that's their thing. I've never been either of those two. Well, I guess I've never been the provider kind of person.
That would be hard.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult.
I guess that's why it works to have so many different sort of people. People
Yeah.
that enjoy different things. So
Do you think it's possible to step into those other roles? Or fake it?
I'm sure you probably could, but would you enjoy faking it? I don't know. That's the thing.
I don't know. It depends. Like if you want to play a character who is a whale hunter, you got to know. Or at least you got to fake that you know, right? So
That's true. That's true. Yeah. I guess it's possible to try those other roles maybe. See if
Hmm.
you can get into them. Oh.
Do you have any ideas for your next character that maybe you're gonna stick with? It sounds like for longer.
I mean, I kind of have a backstory idea just for my own personal, I don't know, direction.
Hmm. Did so?
Uh,
I've never done that, by the way. Did you said you had like a little backstory prepared for Catherine? Did that help you?
um, no, probably not for hers. Hers wasn't very in depth or like thought thought through as far as like how it would affect her personality too much. Besides being like just awkward and quiet.
Okay.
So, which is what it is. Um,
Hmm.
but I think it can be helpful if you have an idea of events that have maybe shaped you into a specific personality or contributed to shaping you in that personality. So,
I've talked to. I mean, it feels like a lot of people, but it's not a lot of people. I've talked to people who not only like prep their whole backstory, know where they came from, know who they know what school they went to, and all of that junk, like real in depth. My father's name is this, and we're from the woods of the north, and all this junk, right? But um, I do know of this crew, and what they do is they have like sort of a family or a clan or whatever it's called unto themselves, and then the new players, if they're like, "Hey, I have no idea what I'm doing. Can you help me?" the the other people will create them a character. Like, you can make
oh,
up the name, but you're the brother to this person, so you're gonna hang out with them a lot, and like, here's kind of the backstory of the clan, and so they have the same backstory. Do you think stuff like that can help new players, and should we have done that with someone new?
I I definitely think that could be helpful. Um, especially with people that don't know anyone,
Hmm.
especially if they're like me. Um, because then it gives them a direction of, okay, this is kind of where you're from and the direction that you're heading. So kind of have a framework of what you should be doing or how you should be doing it, I guess. Um, so I could see how that could be helpful. It could also be fun because someone could give you some crazy random stuff to do. Or
Yeah. How would we even, because as I brought up with Gob, like, there's hundreds of servers out there, right? And how would we, whether it's Darkside, GG, Soggy Boys, whatever, how would we even do that unless you came to us? Like, it seems so difficult for a new player to enter.
uh yeah, I could see it's almost like the new player needs to feel like invited, but how would you do that? Because you wouldn't know unless
Right.
it's someone you actually, already sort of know and are like, oh, you should come join this. Um, so that's kind of, I don't know how you would do that.
Right. It's really difficult. There's like servers and stuff, like forums and all sorts of junk for advertising and all of that stuff. So I'm sure a lot of people come through, but they're also already prepared and ready to do it. Like, they're searching, right? So,
True.
hmm.
Yeah, if someone new isn't searching, then yeah, there's no. Like I only ended up playing Atlas because I saw it posted in a Discord. Oh, this is a new kind of community RP server. Do you
Hmm.
want to join? And so I was like, sure. Well, I mean, Perceptor obviously was like, you should do this.
Yeah, of
I
course.
kind of did have an in, so
Right. Like, how. That's why I was trying to ask Gob about, like, streamers and people who are promoting and all of that stuff. Um, Like, how do you get someone who's never played, just wants to be a part of it, to buy the game, A, install it, B, and then C, make it all the way into the server? Seems really difficult. I don't know how I got here. I don't know how anyone got here.
Yeah. I don't know either.
Dang. Someone figure that out, I guess. I'll keep working on it.
Okay, you do that.
Great. Oh, great. Now it's on me.
Yep.
What else do I want to ask? Thanks, I bite. I don't think that's how it works, but that is technically how it worked for me. Oh, there's the meme question. How do you, and you might not know, how do you deal with characters that you don't like personally?
Well, I don't know. I'm not very good at that in real life. I don't like conflict. So
Mhm.
I'm kind of the sort of person that's just minimize and then avoid. So,
Mhm.
but I didn't really have any experience with that, I don't think,
Mhm.
this season. So,
Good.
but yeah, that's probably what I would do. Minimize and avoid.
Mhm.
I guess. I don't know, unless maybe I was playing a character that was a little bit different than myself, which I didn't. So,
Do you think you can play someone completely different than yourself? Or anyone, I guess, can?
I mean, I guess not completely different, but I think people can. Can I? I'm not sure. I can try, I guess, but I don't know. There's definitely people out there that are very good at just acting,
Mhm.
character acting. Um, and so they can do all sorts of things, which I admire. But
Ooh. Um did you play during the like very sort of indish part with the issues that were going on and the server corruption?
I didn't. I figured I didn't really have anything to tie up or anything, so I would just stay off that way. Maybe it would help ease those issues for people that did have stories to finish. So,
Yeah, I got you. I also think that things like that just sort of halt a bunch of people. They're like, well, I'm not gonna mess with that or whatever. It's happened to me in the past, so
mm,
just wanted to check
yeah.
on new player kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it would definitely depend on if you have a story that you want to try to finish or not finish, conclude in a meaningful way.
Mhm. Um, Now that you've had practice in junk and also practice in a new game, like, hmm, do you think there's like a minimum amount of knowledge that you need before you can have those long-term characters, those like really long stories?
Mm, I don't know. Again, to me, it's like the story isn't necessarily planned out.
Mm-hmm.
So it really depends on what happens, which you can't know what's going to happen. And to me, that's what would give longevity to a character is what the story is doing. So I
Right.
don't know. I would be able to say that.
Cherry Pie asked a great question. Now that you've played with the people that you've played with and you've played solo, do you prefer a large group? Do you prefer solo? What are you gonna shoot for?
Well, definitely solo was mm, kind of sad and lonely. So
Mm-hmm.
probably not. But at the same time, I'm not sure if I'd want to be in a huge group.
Okay.
But I don't know. It depends, I guess, on how active that group is too. So
Yeah, of course. Large group as long as they go with everything you want to do. Right, exactly. I've been a part of all of the junk now, and I think it's like this. How much effort do you personally want to put in versus how much time do you want to get back not having to put in effort? I think that's like the balance or whatever. And I think most of the time it's good in smaller, like 5, 8-ish in a company, I think is pretty good, because you can put in something towards the company but also get something back if you want. Like you can wake up and be like, yo, let's go do whatever, and not have to worry about anything because someone else will get it.
That's true.
But I only play leech characters, so yeah.
You're there for the RP.
Sure, we'll call it there for the RP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. There to not do any work and not play Atlas. I think I don't know. This is another idea I'm kind of like working on. I think some of us, including myself, have what I'm thinking of as like delusions of grandeur, where it's like our story affecting the world instead of being a part of it. From, I guess, an outsider point of view, and then as a new player kind of view, how do you think we can recognize that like there's way more characters than just us, and to chill, I guess?
I guess, I mean, to a point, it doesn't necessarily matter what your viewpoint is on it. It's that person you're interacting. Do they think that your story is the only one that's important? I mean, if that's what you want to think, that's what you're going to do. But obviously, the people that you're interacting with aren't necessarily going to take that viewpoint. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm not answering your questions very well. But...
Nah, it's cool. You're representative of a ton of people, so like if you don't know, you don't know. It doesn't matter. Like there's definitely other people who don't know too, so that's cool. You reminded me of this question I used to ask though. Let me look for it.
Okay.
Okay, this is way better way to ask the same question, I think.
Okay.
And I'll read it from a year and a half ago. We should all be aware of others' generosity with their time. What are some things that people do to show their appreciation for your time during RP? And what would you like to see and hear as appreciation?
I mean, I think really just having interactions with people is a nice way to show appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what we're all kind of here for, or at least most of us. I don't know. So just having the foresight to know that, okay, these people are spending their time trying to do things because that's what they want to do. I want to be a part of that, so I'm going to try to interact with them in a way that they enjoy too. So I think that's the best that we could do as far as showing appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you could go mine a bunch of stuff for someone, I suppose. Spend hours and hours digging peat. I suppose that's interaction that is showing appreciation.
Sounds awful. Disgusting. Never. Never.
But again, I mean that's your time, so
it was awful. So obviously you're a part of Soggy Boys, but other than that, I've had a bunch of people tell me like, hey, after the fact, after good RP, after some fun or whatever, go tell that person, hey, this was fun, or I really like this, or send them a clip or whatever. Did any of that happen with you? Maybe in Soggy Boys or outside even?
Uh, guess I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more of just in game than out of game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
Um, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really quiet on like on Discord and stuff. I don't really participate a lot.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
I know you read some of the junk we say, but do you also read like stuff in the main server and in other communities too, maybe?
I mean, yeah, I look through the message boards. I just don't post them very
Mm-hmm.
much. So, but yeah,
Do
I
you think
do.
any of that affected how you thought about maybe meeting a character
Um,
in the,
I
whatever?
don't think so.
Was Samson's voice annoying? Good question.
I didn't really think so,
Dang it.
but I mean, it was different.
Fine. I'll work on it. Anyway, no. We've talked in the past about how like sending someone a message like, "Hey, this was fun," or whatever is good communication, I guess, outside. Um, I personally really liked the Murphy's dead. We got to go find him. He might not be dead arc. I thought you both created that really well, and it was not something I was expecting, and I enjoyed some of it, I guess. Some of it I did not enjoy, but that's cool, you know? Like, it's not supposed to be enjoyed, all the
Yeah.
time or whatever.
All right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, heads up. I enjoyed that thing you did. Great job.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
I did really like the Murphy is dead part. That's true. So do you think you will join a larger community like Darkside, Twitch RP, New Day in the future?
Maybe.
No Pixel has a private or a public server now. Heads up.
Oh, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't realize that.
Yep. There you go. But yeah, so that'll be like well, so Cherry Pie said 3,500 plus. In the last season, there were 7,000 registered people.
Wow.
Who obviously they didn't all play, but over time there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, right?
Uh-huh.
Is that something huge like that you might want to get involved now that you've dipped your toes in?
I mean, probably could give it a try. Ultimately, obviously, I think people kind of group up anyhow
Mm-hmm.
because you obviously can't interact with 7,000 people all the time. So I mean, yeah, I probably wouldn't be opposed to doing it if it comes back up on Dark Side. I don't know.
I actually see no difference personally. There were still people who said I can't find anyone. There was still people who said, I don't like this, or it should be different, or whatever. So, like, if you can find 5 people in either server, I think that's enough for a day, right? Like, talk to a couple people, move on, talk to a couple people, move on, boom, you've wasted multiple hours. You did your own junk too, so there you go, that's a day.
That's true.
But I think
Yeah.
that's also how I play, so yeah. Good question. do you think? What do you think about sailing? Yeah.
Alien.
Mm-hmm.
The thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes it was kind of just chill. Like if you don't really necessarily feel like doing a lot, you're like, oh, I'm gonna sail. But other times it's like, okay, I want to go here and it's taking forever. This is annoying. Depends
Yep.
on your mood.
Yeah. True. Do you think? You never met him. How do I ask? Do you think there are things that people do that limit you and your RP? Like, can you think of any, I guess?
I don't know.
All right, then I'll give you an example.
Okay.
Boxster was made to be sad and made to lose things. So, well, I mean, not made for that, but that's what he wound up to be, right? So that's what he was all the time, right? And eventually, it was pointed out to me that the sad, quiet person who always says no limits RP because at the beginning or when I was working on it or whatever, I was really trying to be that, right? So you could only have one thing if you spoke to Boxster. It was, how are you? What's going on with you? What'd you lose today? Kind of junk, right? So then I had to figure out how to turn no into the improv standard of yes, right? Because you always have to say yes. So all of his sentences started with no, and then were sentences after that instead of just no. So, do you think quiet, shy, whatever sort of characters limit RP for other people?
I hope not. I guess maybe, unless those people are good at changing it around to actually change the quiet nature of those people. Like, I don't know. Some people are good at, I don't know, they're just very charismatic and are good at engaging people. So, but whether or not they want to do that with someone that's quiet, I don't know.
Right.
But
I occasionally I thought, well, for example, as an example, poetry night, there's plenty of people who say, no, I don't want to do that, right? Which is cool. That's totally cool. We don't want to force you to do that. But also, there can only be so many things that occur before it just can't go on anymore, right? So I thought, multiple times I thought, Riley's new, but, in my own brain. And then through Samson, Riley is shy or whatever. That person needs to be included, but can't be forced, but, like, still needs to be included. How do we do that kind of thing, right? So I thought that was really difficult, but I also watched Teresa walk up and just start saying some junk, right? And it was inclusive just because she was just saying random junk. Like, it didn't force you to do anything. It didn't, like, you didn't have to get up or anything. It was just this break of, hey, do you want to do this? No? All right, that's cool. I'm freaking smoking, whatever, whatever. So,
yeah. And I guess from my point of view on that, like, I felt included just watching other people do it.
Of course.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was this close to doing it, but I was like, I just don't have anything I can find.
Almost. So
so
close.
Yeah. Very close.
I definitely went to a lot of ladies' nights where in the beginning, I wasn't involved at all, and I just sat there and watched, right? And then at the point where people knew Boxer's name over and over again, I was like, frickin', I should include me to give them, to give back that same gratitude thing, whatever. But it was really difficult, and I lost my mind the first time, and I'll never forget. But after that, it was easier and easier and easier and easier. You know what I mean? Even though it's still like super difficult, and I definitely don't want to do it. It's easier, So,
Yeah. Yeah. To be honest, that's kind of why I'm even trying to RP, because like I'm really bad at just letting myself be silly a lot of the time. Like I'm just very reserved often, so I'm trying to step out of that until other things become comfort.
Yeah. That's actually like, in doing these, I've heard people say the same things over and over again, which is why it burns me out so much. Not because it's difficult, but all your answers are the same. Okay. Sorry, because we're all the same people deep in.
Yeah.
We're all worried about what other people think. We all want to be included, and we all want to practice things that we don't think we're doing, like, in our own lives, right? So we just step out a little bit from beyond us and try. So I think that's cool. Yeah. Great job is all I'm saying. You're doing it. You made it.
I'm trying.
And all of you people watching made it too. Well done. I think I burned through all my questions. I actually went back to my other questions that I had from before, so let me just check. Oh, well, I mean, we covered it already, I guess, but is there anything you want to tell new players just like yourself? Although you're not a new player anymore, because now you're playing on 2 different games.
Yeah, just do it.
Nike, you heard it here first.
Yep, totally. No, just don't be afraid that, I don't know, like you and Gab were talking yesterday, like no one necessarily cares if you're not the best at RP yet because you're new. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be doing it, the better it's going to feel for you to do it. So just keep trucking.
Yep. And you're included just by being there. So don't feel like you're excluded, because you are included because you're there. Boom.
Yep, exactly.
I agree. Oh my gosh, Nightbot, relax. Yeah, thanks to Preceptor for rocking up on the sea shanties. That was really funny, and I'm glad that him coming at me made it easier to come at him, and like we both made each other do junk, so that's cool. Honestly, the only negative thing you could do in this game is to join the Navy, because it's pretty terrible overall. Actually, if you do wind up like joining some big company or big server like Darkside or whatever, definitely join the Navy if you have no idea what you're doing, because at least there where the Navy is structured, it's designed to help new players learn and like give them a space where there's a whole bunch of people around you who already know. And so you don't feel like you're going to the same person over and over and saying, how do I do this? 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 They'll tell you, go gather this. We need to build this. Go bring me this, whatever. And then the next person you can, ask new stuff. And then you're also trading and fighting all the time too. So if you want to learn about that stuff, that's good. You can go to those ports. So I definitely recommend the Navy, even though I badmouth the Navy literally all the time.
All right.
Because I play pirates pretty much only. Yeah. Not aggro pirates though. Real
Right.
pirates. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I guess how do you feel about hmm the way piracy in RP is really aggressive, but also we all have to be nice to each other as humans. I'm sure you saw that play out multiple times. How do you feel about that sort of aspect of Atlas RP?
Um, I mean, it was kind of fun to get blown to bits and have to swim in one way just because I'd never had it happen before. Um, and I think it was a nice job in the way that they did it, even though I was totally confused and had no idea what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't right. I don't
More
know.
aggression. That's what I'm hearing. Nice. Sink
I
ships,
mean,
kill people. Got it.
yeah, as long as
Mm-hmm.
there's RP there of some
Yeah.
sort. I'm
The
not gonna
ideas,
get mad out of character if I get blown to bits
the
by a
ideas and
pirate.
thoughts shown before you on this channel do not reflect any server in particular or the ideas of any staff or anything there within TM, SM, whatever the trademark LLC, whatever.
Yep,
Yep.
I do not represent anyone but
Me
myself.
either, sort of. Whatever. I mean, I do, but I also have my own opinions. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, we did talk about being in character in the real world and stuff. Earlier, I bite, but yes, it happens. Yeah. Management is not responsible for falls. Correct. um, I guess I'll just steal your ideas some more. Do you have anyone that you'd like to see interviewed that you don't? I mean, that you don't know of already being interviewed?
I mean, the only interview I really know of was GobTube, so
We did it.
um,
Great advertising.
like anyone.
Okay, got it. Ooh, are there any questions that you want to learn or that you want asked of like more veteran kind of people that just stuff you want to learn about?
Uh,
I kind of asked earlier, but I wanted to hit it again just in case I could steal an idea.
I yeah, I mean, mostly just like how patient are you with people that don't know what they're doing?
That's a good question.
I
That
mean,
is a
I didn't feel anyone wasn't patient with me, but maybe they were just really annoyed at me.
I gave up on the ship 100%. But since the answer was F and I could just say just F it over and over again as angry, it worked out. But also I had no idea how to tell you. Um, but that's a great question. Um, how to be patient with people who don't know what they're doing.
Hmm.
Because I was there before, and like Ibite said, everyone's been there before. And I don't really want to learn outside the game, so I need people to be patient. Croc taught Boxster basically the entire game in character after I learned some from some pirates. So that was pretty
Okay.
cool.
Yeah.
Do you think in the future we talked about playing without the HUD and stuff, so you want to learn the game and stuff like that. Do you think in the future you're more likely to not rely on those things, to not care if your shots actually hit, sort of thing?
Um, yeah, I probably could get there, I think. At
Yeah.
least for the most part, I think I could probably get to a point where I didn't have that on.
Well, it took me
It
like
is really
8
hard.
months. So
8 months. Okay.
yeah,
I still don't know how you do it as far as like your health stats.
I just
But
die. It's
I
fine.
know.
Just die.
Just die.
It
But
it's
other
really
than that,
it's really helpful if you know that other people don't have their HUD on too, because once you know, like if you watched, so Cora, Chloe, um, the brother Cedric, Timothy, all of those people play without the HUD.
okay.
And once I figured it out, and once we all sort of recognized that, hey, we all play without the HUD, right? You can say, oh, wow, I'm really cold. And everyone will check and be like, oh, wow, it is really cold. And they'll all switch gear, right? But none of us are watching. So there were times when I would say, like, oh, I need food or whatever, when I didn't actually need food because I knew that they weren't watching and they'd been talking for a while. So I think that once you're comfortable with it and once people around you know, then boom, you're good. Like, you take care of each other kind of thing. Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Food's really difficult, and I shouldn't have taken the talents I did, but I think I took the vitamin ones, and it was killing me. So,
Oh.
because of the way the game works, like you can't eat if you're full, right? But your vitamins drop to where you have to eat, so you have to run, or you have to sail, or you have to scream, and I just wasn't doing it. So yeah. Anyway, it's a game thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep, that's true.
Look at my Discordo. Ooh. All right, cool. I got another one in. Holy snap! Been an hour and a half already. Well, almost. I had an issue, but yeah. Normally they run like an hour and change. I'm gonna run another one. In 30 minutes. So I guess I'm not going to take us anywhere. I'm just going to drop it. If you want to come watch another one, 30 minutes from now, boom. Thank you very much for giving us all your new person answers. You have a viewpoint that we don't have anymore, so that's really cool. And like I said, it's representative of a lot of people that we can't see because we aren't them anymore. You know what I mean? So, thanks.
That's true. Well, thank you. I appreciate your insights and everything that you do.
Sure, thanks. I'm
Hey,
just
almost
doing,
everything. I don't know.
whatever. I'm just doing whatever I want, so that's cool. Yeah. I guess I'll just drop. All right, cool. Yeah. Bye everyone. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
30 minutes. See you soonish. TM. I'm gonna end the stream.